The red lights incident refers to a mysterious sighting of intense red lights over the Pacific Ocean in August 2014, observed by pilots flying a 747-8 from Hong Kong to Anchorage. Pilots reported seeing a bright flash, followed by a deep red-orange glow illuminating the clouds below, in an area where no light sources should have existed. The sighting lasted for at least 30 minutes and covered a vast area, ruling out typical explanations like fishing boats or oil platforms. Some researchers have proposed that these lights could be related to earthquake lights, a rare phenomenon associated with tectonic activity. Earthquake lights have been reported for centuries and are thought to be caused by electrical charges generated by rock friction during seismic events. The timing of the red lights coincided with a massive earthquake in Papua New Guinea and significant disruptions in Earth's magnetic field recorded by magnetometers in Greenland and Alaska. Proponents of this theory suggest that the red lights could represent a previously unobserved large-scale discharge in the upper ionosphere, triggered by extreme geomagnetic activity. The incident has also drawn interest from ufologists, who speculate about potential extraterrestrial origins for the unexplained lights. Military explanations have been proposed, including the possibility of undisclosed weapons tests or naval exercises in the area. The lack of official explanations and the scale of the phenomenon have led to ongoing speculation and research into the true nature of the red lights incident. This entry refers to the belief in the existence of hidden live streaming platforms on the dark web where viewers can watch or participate in extreme acts of violence or torture in real time. Proponents of this theory claim these platforms operate on invitation-only basis, accessible only to elite or wealthy individuals. Some believers argue that the name Red Room originates from the idea that the walls of the room where these acts take place are stained red with blood. The concept gained traction through urban legends, creepypastas, and fictional depictions in media, leading some to believe in their real-world existence. Supporters of the theory often point to the dark web's anonymity and the existence of other illegal marketplaces as evidence that such platforms could potentially exist. Some proponents claim that cryptocurrency transactions and advanced encryption techniques enable these platforms to operate undetected. The theory sometimes incorporates ideas about human trafficking networks, suggesting that victims are sourced for these live streams. Certain believers argue that occasional police reports of rescued captives or dismantled criminal operations are evidence of red rooms being shut down. Some theorists suggest that powerful individuals or secret societies use these platforms for ritualistic purposes or as a form of extreme entertainment. Red Squads refers to specialized intelligence units within law enforcement agencies that operated in the United States from the late 19th century through the 1970s. These units were primarily tasked with monitoring, infiltrating, and disrupting groups perceived as radical or subversive, particularly those associated with leftist ideologies. Red Squads gained prominence during the first Red Scare of 1917 to 1920. Intensifying their activities in response to fears of Bolshevism and anarchist radicalism. As time progressed, these units expanded their focus to include civil rights organizations, anti-war movements, and other groups deemed politically radical. Proponents argue that Red Squads were necessary to maintain social order and prevent violent uprisings inspired by foreign ideologies. Critics contend that these units frequently violated citizens' constitutional rights through tactics such as unlawful surveillance, harassment, and wrongful arrests. The Chicago Police Department's Red Squad was particularly notorious, compiling intelligence files on hundreds of thousands of individuals and organizations. Some believe that while official Red Squads no longer exist, similar operations continue under different names or within other law enforcement structures. The legacy of Red Squads continues to influence debates about the balance between national security and civil liberties in modern policing. Supporters of increased domestic surveillance often cite the historical context of Red Squads as justification for enhanced intelligence gathering capabilities. Reddit hate bots refers to the theory that Reddit employs automated chatbots to target and discourage users deemed undesirable by generating negative interactions and comments. Proponents of this idea believe these bots are programmed to downvote posts, leave hostile comments, and create an overall negative experience for specific users. Supporters point to instances of massive downvotes occurring within seconds of posting controversial opinions, particularly on topics like vaccines or politics, as evidence of coordinated bot activity. Some users report receiving numerous negative or irrelevant comments on otherwise innocuous posts in hobby-specific subreddits, which they attribute to these alleged bots. Believers in this theory suggest that the bots are part of a broader strategy to shape discourse on the platform by discouraging certain viewpoints or driving away users who don't align with desired narratives. Advocates argue that the use of such bots would be an extension of known practices like shadow banning, where user content is hidden without their knowledge. Some theorists claim that these bots are part of larger bot clusters that have been in operation since the early 2000s, designed to seek out and suppress specific types of content or users. Regenerative death consumption refers to a theoretical practice where individuals consume the remains of deceased humans to extend their own lifespan or gain supernatural abilities. This concept draws from various cultural beliefs and mythologies about the transfer of life force or power through the consumption of human flesh or organs. Proponents of this theory suggest that certain enzymes or compounds present in human remains could trigger cellular regeneration or slow the aging process. Some believers point to historical accounts of ritualistic cannibalism in various cultures as evidence of ancient knowledge about life-extending properties of human consumption. Proponents of this theory suggest that certain enzymes or compounds present in human remains could trigger cellular regeneration or slow the aging process. Some believers point to historical accounts of ritualistic cannibalism in various cultures as evidence of ancient knowledge about life-extending properties of human consumption. The theory sometimes incorporates ideas about quantum entanglement, proposing that consuming remains creates a metaphysical link between the living and the deceased. Supporters often cite anecdotal reports of increased vitality or heightened sensory abilities following the practice of regenerative death consumption. Some proponents argue that certain elite or secretive groups engage in this practice, explaining their perceived longevity or influence. The concept sometimes intersects with theories about vampirism, suggesting that mythical accounts of blood drinking for immortality have a basis in regenerative death consumption. Believers in this theory often point to the taboo nature of cannibalism as evidence of its potential power, arguing that societal prohibitions exist to prevent widespread access to its benefits. Some supporters suggest that modern medical practices like organ transplantation and stem cell therapy are sanitized versions of regenerative death consumption principles. Regurgitation rituals refers to the practice of intentionally vomiting as part of spiritual or mystical ceremonies. This concept is rooted in various ancient traditions and modern alternative spiritual practices. Proponents believe that the act of regurgitation can cleanse the body and mind of negative energies or toxins. Some practitioners claim that these rituals can induce altered states of consciousness or visions. The theory draws parallels with certain indigenous practices, such as the use of ayahuasca, which often involves purging as part of the spiritual experience. Supporters of regurgitation rituals often report feelings of lightness, clarity, and renewed energy following the practice. Some believers argue that the physical act of vomiting symbolizes the release of emotional or spiritual burdens. The concept sometimes incorporates ideas about accessing past life memories or communicating with spiritual entities through the ritual. Proponents often point to the body's natural reflex to expel harmful substances as evidence of vomiting's purifying potential. Some practitioners combine regurgitation rituals with fasting or specific diets, claiming this enhances the spiritual effects. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. The left link takes you to more clips like this. The right link takes you to the full episodes these are from. Thanks for watching.